Hello and welcome back. This video is really late because I keep waiting for the perfect day to give you a tour of the garden and update you on all the things that have been happening, and it's done nothing but rain. There have been a couple of sunny days and I haven't been able to film in those days. Today is another grey and overcast day, even though it is the beginning of August. And it's really frustrating. The garden sort of doesn't mind. I've had a lot of successes. A lot of stuff has changed, so it's time for the early August allotment tour. One of the most obvious changes this time round is that I finished clearing all of the old plants from the previous owner, and everything is now covered in black weed suppressing membrane, and I've also set up the next raised bed. But in terms of plants, I've got a lot of things happening on the seed trays. I've tried not to go too mad because I've completely run out of space to put anything. These are winter greens. I've got a few, what are these, chard, loads of pak choi, some kamatsu Asian spinach, and some mizuna, which I've been planting out already. And then I've got 2 Chinese cabbages. We'll see how they get on. I went to, since I last filmed, I've been to Tatton Park at the RHS flower show. So there's quite a few new acquisitions to share with you as we go around. I'll point those out as we go. 2 of my newest acquisitions, or 3 of them, are these. These are a type of Szechuan pepper. This one. This is a type, this is a lemon Szechuan pepper, so you can actually eat the leaves and they taste lemony. You can put them into stir fries and stuff, and they will also produce peppers. I've not actually tried to eat them before, but definitely edible. Anyway, these they don't self-fertilize, so they need a pal. And I also got this tiny little lemon tree. See if that will focus. Hardy lemon. I've had one of these before and killed it though, so I don't hold up much hope. These are garlic chives. These are perennial, but I haven't worked out where they're going to go yet. The basil, I mean, it's doing better, but it's really been a slow start. Like, this is all the basil I have, and it's taken this long to get here. I've got started some biennials. I've got sweet rocket, and then my brassicas are just getting annihilated. These were some leftover purple sprouting broccoli, and look at them. This is all over the allotment. I didn't put in the infrastructure to cover anything, and they're just being eaten alive. These are all going to go in the compost. I've got some more seedlings for sort of later in the year, more chard. This is another tray of spinach that has just not germinated at all, so I need to work out which seeds these are and get rid of them. Some lettuces, I think these are, no, I have no idea what they are. And 2 fennel, and a couple of cauliflower as well, although the cauliflowers I've got aren't doing particularly well either. My globe artichoke is really coming along. Look at this guy. No artichokes this year, but I have high hopes for next year. I've started to try and do something about the weeds here by just putting down cardboard. We'll see how it goes. And then this was my first bed. This is a real higgledy-piggledy bed, and some things are doing really well and some things are really not doing very well. I'm really surprised by how unproductive my courgette plants are. They look really healthy. They've been getting plenty of water. They're in a bed of almost 100% horse manure, so they should be really nourished. And yet I've had a couple of small courgettes off them and that's it. I chucked the kale in here before I went on holiday in June and it's doing almost nothing apart from being eaten by caterpillars. I planted them out because I was just really worried they weren't going to survive while I was away, but I think they probably would have been better off in pots. This is a green cabbage that has been eaten alive, and red cabbages which started off promising and I guess they are starting to heart up, but again, because I didn't cover them, they've just been eaten alive. I have been ripping the outside leaves off these red cabbages and eating them in stir fries and coleslaws and stuff, so it hasn't been all bad. The cauliflowers, well, that's frankly pathetic, and I'm going to put it in the compost bin as soon as I finish filming. And then chard and beetroot, which isn't doing an awful lot, although the beetroot probably shouldn't have gone into a bed that's almost all manure. Some more cabbages and some interplanted with some carrots and some coriander, which also isn't doing anything spectacular. On the other hand, the tomatoes have been amazing. I've been harvesting the tomatoes already, and I'll insert some footage I took from the other day where I harvested the first lot. Big basket full of tomatoes which I've already processed and turned into stores for winter. These are the Roma tomato variety, and I picked all of my tomatoes this year to be varieties that will grow well outside, and these have not disappointed. These ones, also huge, are Grushkova bush tomatoes, and these have been, I mean, these are absolute whoppers. Look at those, it's amazing. Some more cabbages, although the outer leaves of these have all been eaten and are covered in caterpillars, actually they're still hearting and the hearts are really solid, so I'm not particularly worried. I'm going away again for another trip next week, so I'm going to leave these until I get back and then harvest them. My pumpkins are really producing so well. I've got 3 or 4 good fruits on each plant, and I'll show you these from the other side. Here we are at the other side. You can see 2 yellowing, there's another fruit there, and there's a 4th fruit there. I think there's 3 plants in here. There's another little one there. 2 of the plants have 3, 4, one of them's got 5 really good sized fruits on them. This was the smaller one, and it's only got 1. Oh no, there's another little one. And oh, and another one. So they're just smaller. I try to put them on bricks when I find them so they don't just rot. There's been that much rain. I've got I've totally forgotten the name of this, cosmos. And in amongst the sunflowers. Just look, it's starting to flower. That's so exciting. This bed has been really good, but I think probably I haven't It's because I haven't tried to grow as much in it as this one, which is just a little bit overwhelmed. Behind me I have my fruit bushes, my pink blueberry, which hasn't really produced any fruit yet. I think they're the only fruits. And two blueberries. Two blue blueberries. This one's had some fruit and still has some to go. This one's been really productive. Loads of fruit on here. And then this is a new blackcurrant bush that I brought back from France. I bought it in the market. There. So that doesn't have a home yet, but it's grown all this new growth since I brought it back in June. And then changed since last time, this third bed is up and running. And again, it's a bit of a mixed bed. I've got French beans. These are 3 different varieties of French bean, dwarf French varieties that I bought in the supermarket in France. I've got 1 fennel from an early fennel sowing, and I only got 1. And I tried to plant out the purple sprouting broccoli and some more cabbages in here and interplant them with the beans, but it's not really being very successful. The purple sprouting broccoli is just being completely demolished by the caterpillars, and the cabbages, I think there's 1 left over there and the rest have died. But the rest of this bed has turnips, beetroot, a couple of swede, and at the back there all the leeks. There's 2 varieties of leek there. I'll have to tell you which one's which when we get around that side. Another new acquisition to the garden, which I'm completely in love with, is this cherry tree. This is the sunniest spot in the garden. It does desperately need to go in the ground. It's been there for over a week already. And it is a cherry sunburst. It's on a dwarfing stock. I think it's a geisha, I think is the term for a dwarfing cherry tree. These guys are potentially looking really good. I've got 1 cucumber which was donated by a friend. It's only in a pot, but it's growing quite well and it has quite a lot of fruit on it. I don't know what variety this is. I'm wondering if they're Cornichon. I haven't asked. And then 2 of my chilies. This is the Scotch bonnet, which has some fruit on it. This is the lemon drop, which is growing so much growth, but is only just starting to flower. So I have high hopes for this one. And then I had to buy, it was so rainy and so cold, I had to buy this little tomato tunnel to try and protect some of the other fruiting plants. I've got 3 chilies in a grow bag. There's 2 green jalapeno and a black jalapeno. And there's this little guy, which probably really could have done with going in a bigger pot. It's just a patio chili pepper. An aubergine plant, which is growing really well, has flowered. It's in too small a pot, and I don't expect it to flower because it's not to fruit because it's not warm enough. My sweet peppers here are just starting to flower, so good chance that we'll get fruit on those, although it's in a slightly smaller pot than is probably ideal. I did get fruit off of sweet peppers in this size pot last year, and they look really dry, but I only watered them yesterday. And I've been through the garden and fed everything today too. Here's the other end of that bed. With, you can see the grass is growing up out of the edges. It's going to take ages to sort out. This is one variety of leek. And here's another. It looks a bit, soil looks a bit dry on top, but actually as you go down there is plenty of moisture in there. We'll see how it goes. And then this is the area that was still mostly weeds and bushes last time, but it's now all cleared out and covered over. I've got a Dalek compost bin. It's up and running. I put a layer of cardboard in there this morning because I mowed the lawn yesterday and put all the grass clippings in. And then this is a sweet potato. I've never grown a sweet potato before. I don't know if it's going to do anything. It was in the in the garden centre in the second bin because it was dying. So I just thought I'd give it a home and see what happened. And then we're starting to get ready for the next bed. The plan for here where I'm sitting is to put together the greenhouse that's in the shed. So I've got a 3 by 3 metre square space which I can level off, put down a base of recycled paving slabs from around the garden, and then fit my greenhouse, which is just under 2 metres square, so 1.9 by 1.9 metres square, and that should give me a nice space to walk all the way around it and have the greenhouse situated here one day. And all that's going to leave me with space for 2 more of these large raised beds. I've got one in situ already and one the other side where the wheelbarrow is. This one I put together only last night actually, and I've put it in, or I've started hammering it in without removing the weed membrane, which was harder work, but there's method in my madness, which is that if I hammer it in so that it stays upright, I can cut out the membrane on the inside and leave the membrane in place on the outside, which I'm hoping means we won't get this situation where the grass is poking through because there's a little gap. So it's an experiment, we'll see how it goes. At this point in filming, my neighbours came out next door and were hanging around by the fence and doing a lot of work. So I'm deferring to voiceover to show you these 2 new acquisitions. These are 2 mint plants. The large leafed one is an apple mint, and the small leaf one is a strawberry mint. And the strawberry mint is amazing. It really, really smells and tastes like strawberry. I've never experienced anything quite like it before. I've collected some more plants from my parents' house where they were stored, so I now have my winter honeysuckle. This really needs to go in the ground. I've fed it recently, so it's looking a bit greener, but it needs to be planted. And this is the fragrant winter box, which is also starting to put on new growth. I've still got tomatoes in bags on the side here. More of the same varieties. These are the Gushkova. They're maybe not doing so well as the ones in the open ground, but I'm still getting a lot of fruit from them. And these are the Jen's Tangerine Cherry, which turned out to be much bigger fruits than I expected. And this has been a really, really well productive set of plants. I'm getting loads of the yellowy orange tomatoes from them. I'm really pleased with the progress of these 2 dahlias. I bought these tubers last year and these are the only two that survived the winter. This little white pom-pom one has just grown enormous, considering it's only in a small pot. And this is a red one, is just gorgeous. It's called Arabian Night. They're both in the same size pot, but the Arabian Night is not quite as bushy as the other one. And then this pot of herbs is also doing really well. I cut back that sage not so long back and it's just grown wild again. The bay is looking good since I've trimmed it, and it's starting to look greener since I've remembered to feed it as well. There's also a thyme and a rosemary, and both of these could probably do with cutting back now, so I shall harvest and dry off some herbs in a bit. My little baskets of lettuces are also doing really well. I've just cleared out this first one and planted some new winter lettuces, and then the mixed bed of carrots and Roma type lettuces are doing really well. The oregano is going to flower, and the lawn's looking pretty good now that I've had a chance to mow it too. Sorry about the reverting to voiceover there. My neighbours have just come out into the garden and are doing a load of DIY of their own, so I didn't want all the noise and everything. So yeah, so this is where the garden is at in early August. It's normally so much warmer at this time of year, and still we had that really cold spring, and it's been wet all through July, and it's still pretty cold some days. So I still feel like things are behind where they would normally be, but I'm really pleased with the progress that I've made, considering 3 months ago there was nothing here at all, and then to have all of this abundance and to already be mostly eating off of the produce that I have grown myself, certainly self-sufficient in salad and tomatoes right now and green vegetables. I'm pretty happy, and I think there's still plenty of the season left, and I've made plans to be self-sufficient through, well, not fully self-sufficient, but to have options to eat my own veg that I've grown through the winter. So I think we're in a pretty good place, actually. I still feel a little bit nervous coming out into my garden and just sort of talking into my camera, because I don't know who can listen, who can hear me, and I'm still new to the area, so my neighbours don't know me, they don't know about my YouTube channel. So I'm hoping that that's not coming across too I'm not coming across too reserved to you. And thank you to those of you who have reached out and asked me when my next video is coming. I'm really glad that there are some of you out there who are enjoying my content. There are some, when I started this channel, it was to share sort of my DIY experience setting up and working on my own house and my house renovation project. And that includes the garden, but the house is still ongoing, and there will be house content returning soon. Things are picking back up inside, so there should be a video out probably in September to update you on all of the things that are going on in the house. If you're just here because you like gardening videos and allotment tours, then thank you very much. Really appreciate it if you would give a like and a subscribe. That would be really helpful to me, and until next time, I will say farewell.